I am excited to share with you making your own papers today. And I use a lot of handmade painted papers in my collage. You can see this is in my art journal. You know, it has some handmade papers in this. And I also use painted papers in my fine art. I've been doing art for, gosh, over 25 years. And I use, you can see some handmade papers in here and down in her dress. I use a lot of different papers, and this is fabric on top. But today we're going to learn how to make some of these papers so that you can incorporate them into your journals. But you're going to need some paper. So I like around 80 pounds, which is typically a drawing paper. This is an 80-pound sketchbook. So that's it. It's not super thin and it'll hold the ink without rippling, but it's not super thick either, so you can attach it easier. You can also use copy paper or watercolor paper if you want something a lot thicker. Watercolor paper is like a 140. Let's see, this is a 140 pound, so you can use that. But that's going to be thick. As you can see, it's going to be a lot thicker. You can use cardstock, or I even like a little bit of tissue paper because that's thin and it makes fun texture on paintings. So there is the paper you'll need. You'll need paints, and you don't have to use really great quality. This is, I always love Liquitex and Golden, but if you just even have the basics, Grumbacher, anything you like, because sometimes it's good to water it down anyway, so inexpensive paints are fine for making your paper. And you'll also need some tools. Oh, I also use some Distress spray stains. These are by Jim Holtz. And if you haven't tried these are kind of fun for dyeing papers, and they spray. So I'll show you how you use those too. I like to use tools. So palette knives, brushes. You can use whatever kind of brushes you have. If you don't have stencils, no worries, but sometimes stencils create a lot of interest in the painting. Credit cards, if you have any thick paper, that could work, but credit cards are great too for making your paper. And then sometimes, if I have them, I use stamps. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is think about what you want to paint. And you don't have to worry about it too much. This is like quick, easy thinking. You know, have fun with it, because you can rip these. As you can see, I use parts of it. You can rip, and you know, so it doesn't matter if you even fill the whole page or whatever you want to do. So let's start with a black one. So what you're going to do is get your paint, whatever color paints you, or whatever brand paint that you have, and you can use you know, paper plates or paper cups, plastic cups, anything to spread out your paint. And then you're just going to get it a little bit liquidy. I always like to add a little water to it, and then just spread it across the paper. And we're not worrying about it, where it goes exactly. If it's too thick in areas, you can just add more water and spread it out. Just have fun, turn on the music, and fill the paper up. Even if some white shows, it doesn't really matter, because it all creates interest. Where there's thicker and thinner paint, creates kind of you know, a little bit of interest in depth. So once you have it black, you're going to let that dry. And then what I like to do is use any kind of round stamp or cups. These are fine. And you can spread the next color. Let's say we're going to use white, and spread that around the rim. Or if you have a lot of white or gesso, just put it on a plate and dip your end in there and just kind of keep going. And then once you get that done, you can either, add stamps, because black can be kind of interesting. So if we add a little bit of stamps in here in silver, it's kind of interesting on the black. You don't have to think about it too much, just stamp it in there. And then you can kind of just see if you want anything else. Like it might be kind of pretty just to put, just a little bit of color on these little stamp flowers. And then you've got a little bit of paper here. Now say you don't, it's too, let's say it's just, you want it a little more, let's say messy. You can take something like your credit card and just kind of mess it up a little bit. And then you'll find something interesting in there that you can use for your, for your painted paper. And I think that could be a bird's body, all kinds of fun stuff. So that's one way to do it. Another way is to create kind of just all kinds of color on this one, very bright. And I've used this a lot, and little pieces, are really interesting. So what we'll do with that one, so what you're going to do is just take some colors, pour them on your page a little bit. And it doesn't really matter what colors you want to use or where you put them, really. Just kind of this old yellow stuff. And then take something like your credit card, or this is just like a stiff advertisement. And then all you're going to do is just like drag it around through there. And it's going to create this really pretty swirl. What I do is I take just whatever I have. This is a paint lid. And then you can just kind of go in and just add a few little circles wherever you want them. And remember, you'll probably be cutting this, so it doesn't really matter. Just kind of play, see what you come up with. And there you go. Another fun way to add interest into a painting is to do this is using a stencil. So what you would do is paint your sheet blue. I did this one a little earlier, and so it would dry. And then you're going to find a stencil that you think is interesting. Let's just say this one. And you're going to put it on top of your paper. And then you're going to take a pencil or a brush. And I'd use a little bit of a stiff brush because it's just easier to, make sure it doesn't run through this. And then you're going to just kind of follow the stencil with your brush. And you can keep it all one color. Like say you want everything black and white or blue and white. You can do it all one color. You could add colors. You know, whatever you think you want for your painting or your piece. Gosh, I got paint all over my fingers. And then when you're finished, you just lift it up and you've got all these colors. And then you can, from there, you can do different like marks on there if you want it to look a little different. Sometimes I just use the edge of the of different things and paint them and then add them in. I really like this, and this is so easy. It's just a piece of advertisement in the mail, right? Those hard pieces that come and you don't know what to do with. And this could be really fun. A little interest in here to rip out. So they all make fun paintings. Tissue paper. So this is the same, you do it the same as any other paper. And then you can just add different colors. And maybe you want to add those lines again. You could do this all on any color tissue paper. Tissue paper comes in all kinds of colors. You could paint the tissue paper a certain color and then go from there as well. So that's just another idea to get you going. So an easy way to make this painted paper is to find a book that you don't care about, obviously, and just start with a layer of paint. So take your paintbrush, and I usually like it a little bit you know, watered down for this so that you can see through. And you're just gonna, I love stencils, as you know, so you can try using some stencils. We have this distressed spray, and these are, again, Jim Holtz distressed spray stains. And this one is in a mossy green, forest moss. And these just spray. So if you want to just do a little bit on your page, you can do that. And then it kind of turns out like this, which just gives these kind of fun patterns. And then you can go back in with, you know, other color or whatever you might want to add a little more interest into that. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that you learned something new, and I hope that you join me again in another one of these little free workshops.